Hey, good evening everybody, this is Panfish Guy. We're getting prepped for our Reelfoot trip next week. And I'm just doing a little bit of prep on the boat and working on some rods and stuff, kind of getting stuff lined out for the trip. I've been cruising some of the crappie forums lately, and I've seen a couple of questions pop up about rod storage on the boat and traveling with your rods on the boat, and this could be, not specific to spider rigging, but in my case, I've got multiple spider rigging rods that I carry with me. So I just saw a couple of those questions pop up, and I thought, this wouldn't be a bad subject for a video. So really, we're talking about storage for rods, both while traveling and/or ways to keep them neat and tidy while you're traveling so that you don't end up with a mess when you get to your destination. So as an example here, so the first question I saw was, I've got myself my 16-foot spider rigging rod here, ACC crappie stick spider rigging rod. I love them. And the first question I saw was, a fella asked, he said, how do you get to, how do you travel with your rods on your boat without them getting all tangled up when you get to the lake? Whether that's the line moving around or you just lay them in the boat and they get tied together and stuff. So I learned this from a fella down at Reelfoot Lake that I fished with a bunch of times. The way he stored his rods, and I thought it'd be a handy little tip for folks that are looking for some solutions for that. So like I say, I got my 16-foot rod here, and we're going to talk about how this rides on the boat here in a minute. But I've got this rigged up with a V&M Capstan Coleman double minnow rig with a, and I hope you can see that on here, double minnow rig with a bobber on it. So simply put, it seems that these and I don't know if they really meant for it to happen this way, but this works out really well. If you take your bottom hook, and again, it doesn't have to be a double minnow rig, it could be a single rig with a jig, whatever you got going on. But basically what I do is I take this bottom hook, or you could take your hook and hook it on the bottom eye of your first section of rod. So see, this is a 3-piece rod, so this is my last section of rod here, and so I hook it at the eye closest to the bottom of that. So I hook that there, and again, if you don't have a double rig, it doesn't, you don't have to do this part. But what I do is I take this second, I'm gonna get a little closer here. I'm gonna take this second upper hook, and I'm gonna stretch this line just a little bit and hook it to that eye right there. So you think, hey, you're done, right? Well, here's what happens. You go to lay this in the boat with 8 other rods, and you go take them out of the boat, and you've got a mess on your hands. So these things will get, tied up around the other rods or handles or whatever, So any numerous items they can get tied up on. But so what I do here though, and this is what I learned from the guide that I used to go with, Mark Pierce. With these double rigs, you go to your eye above where your weight is, right here. And again, I'm hoping you guys can see this. And you just grab that and you start wrapping the line. And you just keep wrapping that line, keep wrapping that line, keep wrapping that line until it's tight. And then you're just gonna tuck it right around that eye. Now, you don't have a bunch of excess line hanging here. Just a little tip for that. So that kind of helps you keep that line tight. So that kind of covers that. It just makes it a little neater. And then when you get to the lake and you go to get going again, we just do this. Get a hold of that line above the eye, and you got to work it up just a little bit. Then you get that loose and you just start unwrapping. And once you wrap it all the way down, unhook it, bait it up, you're ready to go. My second part of this is regarding storage. Just imagine trying to store this 16-foot rod, right? So we're gonna get to that. My dilemma with 16-foot rods is, let's say I'm gonna leave these intact, right? And I want to store it on my rod racks here and make sure that they don't move around a whole bunch while I'm traveling down the road. If I put this like this, if I put this on the rack and just lay it here without it really being secure, I mean, it's still hanging off the back of the boat, probably 3 foot. So you walk around the side of the boat, you go to the back, and wham, you walk into 80 year poles, hook yourself in the face or the eye or something, right? So it's not really practical to do it that way and keep those rods intact. And let's say I flip it around and I put the nose of the rod forward, which I found, I did this for a while, but then I found these rods would scoot in the rack. So, you know, you put it here, you strap it down. That's about right in the back, right? But then if you look up here in the front, that tip of the rod's basically at the front of the boat up here. It's in the way of the trolling motor. And basically you got the whole side of the boat blocked off with rods. You're gonna have a wall of rods. If I got 8 rods there, there's no way I'm getting onto this side of the boat. And I've already got enough stuff on here. So my solution to this then was, let's try to break these rods down a little bit and do it a different way. So I came across these guys and I started playing with them. I actually got them for something else. And I was like, yeah, it might work for this. And this is a Niteize gear tie. And they're kind of like a rubber, I don't know how to describe it. They're just a rubber, almost like a hair twisty thing. But they're stiff. They're stiff, like stiff wire on the inside. And you can form them however you want, right? And Niteize, really handy things. So what I did was, got me a couple of those Niteize things, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna break this rod down because I still want to carry it on the boat. I still want to carry 8 of these on the boat, but I don't want them to be a mess when I get to my destination. So I've got my tie, or my, I've got this thing all wrapped up like I showed you earlier. And then I just take that last section of the rod off. Tighten up the slack so I don't have any extra slack on here. And I grab a couple of these gear ties. And I'll hopefully you can see it. I'm just going to take one of these. And these come in different sizes too. This is one of these is a 3-inch, the other is a 6. Either works, but the 6 gives you a little extra room to play with. So basically, I'm just tying the end of that, the tip of that rod up to the shaft there. And then just for safety purposes, so this isn't flopping around while I'm driving down the road, I'm just going to wrap this part, and I always wrap it behind the eye, the last eye, so that thing can't like slide off the pole or anything. But I got that all tied on there, and it's tied on to the other end. And as you can see, that's kind of nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. And I already drove down to Reelfoot once, 4.5 hour drive with these once, and there was no issue. But so now I've got this pole broken down to a little more manageable length. Basically what I've got then is set this pole up here like so. That way it can slide backwards and the reel's bumping into there, so it's not going anywhere. And then you got a little rod hanging off the back here, but then you cinch these down. Get them all cinched down. That's not going anywhere. I mean, it might, it's always going to have forward momentum, so it might slide. If you have to make a sudden stop, it might slide forward a little bit, but not like this is. That thing is tight. And then I got a nice little spot here I pull up to the dock, onto the boat I go. So, and it doesn't interfere with the trolling motor. I don't have to worry about the tips getting beat. I beat up a couple tips when I used to store them going forward. And those were actually my 14-foot rods before I got these. And so it's just a little much cleaner way to travel. And these things, like I said, they're not going to go anywhere. I wouldn't have any problem driving to Mississippi with these like that. So again, just a little short video to kind of show you what I've done for storage and or kind of keeping those rods nice and tidy while you're traveling, so that you're not tangling stuff up. And I've been there where got to my destination, I had to untangle 6 poles before I got them in the water. And there was some unpleasant words said and stuff like that. So anyway, just wanted to share that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, give me a like and a share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.
Well, that's all we have for now. Don't forget to check out our friends at my724outdoors.com on the web and Facebook. Also, you can follow me at Panfish Guy on Facebook, Daniel Palmer 5623 on Instagram, at PanfishG on Twitter, and we now have a live website. Go check out panfishguy.com. It is also linked to all of my social media sites. Hey, knock it off.